So I think true blue large organization is getting built, which is in B2B side, which was unheard of. So thank you, Sabya, for joining us, and would love to have a chat with you. And give me some commission for not doing your work. Okay? Thank you. Okay. So Sabya, as we start, I was talking about the business you guys have built over a period of time, and from a account statement analyzer, which is built primarily for PFM business, you have migrated and moved ahead with new launches. Then you have acquired companies. So we want to know, what does Perfios look like right now? What all you do, and what are the problem statement in the new avatar you are trying to build?
So thanks, Amir. I think first, let me congratulate you for putting up such a great show.
Thank you.
Commendable work, and I know what it has gone through because I have been discussing with the team for a long time. So I know what it takes to be there.
And thank you for coming as a leading sponsor, because presenting sponsor, because lot of people were not trusting us that we'll be able to pull off. But thank you for trusting us and supporting.
No, I mean, I know you enough, so not trusting is out of question. So that's absolutely not that we intended to do. Of course, there is always a learning. It's a age where we learn every day from every quarters, I think. And all said and done, I think fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, coming back to your question, what does Perfios do? We are a 14-year-old organization. I don't know how many of people sitting out here know about it, but to build a brand or B2B organization, it's not overnight. Unfortunately, a lot of people believe that it can be built overnight. I really wonder that, is it possible that way? So when you're looking at building if you're not willing to build a lifestyle business and really want to make it a brand, you have to invest in it, both in terms of time, effort, and need to be patient with it. So what has happened with Perfios, and I was touching upon it very briefly yesterday. Now, we started off as a B2C company, like some of you may know. And about 2 years from the time we started, which was 2008, 2010 is when we realized that B2C can be lifestyle business, but we cannot make it a large brand unless like B2C brands that you see today are more kind of we believed in. I'm not saying that everybody does that today, but you spend billions to get millions. So we're very clear, we will not spend billions to get millions. It has to be reverse. So very clear in kind of early days. And then we pivoted quickly. I would say whatever we built in the initial days, that still holds a lot of meat, because the engine that we built was really very, very powerful, and which is what you see today getting used across organization, across sectors. It is not restricted to just banks. It is spread to other segments as well, which includes you just had a session about digital commerce. We are very powerful there. Without naming anyone, but we work with the country's biggest commerce player.
Okay.
Very few people would realize. They would all say you work with the largest private banks or the public sector banks or something like that. That's not true. We work with the largest commerce player in the country as well. So that's one. Now, how it has evolved. So when we started, of course, I was giving an example of Bisleri yesterday. When it comes to any kind of insight statement analyzer product, it's like a Bisleri. So people associate Perfios very easily with.
One interjection. He said Bisleri. I was searching for Bisleri. There's none, right? So let me just pick up some water. If somebody can actually get some water here, it'll be good for us. Yeah.
So, that's where we started, because we built a kind of aggregation engine which can understand, get any kind of data, curate it, analyze it, put it to perspective from a vertical solutioning perspective, and then offer it depending on the use cases of different organizations. That's where we started the journey. I think till today, we are associated with that a lot. Maybe some fault of ours because we don't market ourselves that well. Because obviously in early days, when you're setting up a company which has changed over the last 10 years, which is what I see, People raise money before your product is built. I don't know whether it is good philosophically or not, but we were of the philosophy where your product has to be built, uh, getting to use by some of the clients, and you see revenues, post which only you go and raise money. It's just the reverse today. Uh, you have a concept and you go ahead in the market to raise money. Now, I don't know whether it works or not. Principally, I don't believe that too much. Um, so that's what that means is you are truly invested as a company to make the product successful as well, right? So it is not just about raising money. So when we invested ourselves and when we built our first product, it was very clear that we have to make it a meaningful business. And here we are. But what eventually happened, which is where your question is, what does Perfios do today? So what we do today is end-to-end customer lifecycle management, as I said. We don't, if you walk to any of our office, whether in India or abroad, you will never find a mission or a vision statement, which usually all large companies have. And the belief that our founders had was, when you practice the mission and vision, is it truly required to put in the back of your reception?
Okay.
So that's what we believed in. I don't know whether it holds good today. I get a lot of young folks from college and they say, sir, I don't see a branding. I don't see a vision mission statement. All of that we get to answer. But the point is, it was very clear when we created the vision, and which is what I would like to talk about and take a minute, that we want to create an ecosystem where all decisions are data backed and are taken in real time. Now, mind data, what I'm trying to say is all decisions data backed in real time, which is what every ecosystem player is marching towards. I mean, you look OCAN, ONDC, AA, anything, that is what is happening. Now, so every decisions will be data backed at one point in time. When all of this is happening, what we said is that it has to be end to end instead of a pocket solutions or a pointed solutions that you offer in the market. We started with some, but we graduated to the entire cycle. Now, the simple example in the lending ecosystem, which people usually associate us with, the starting from sourcing to collections, we have solutions across. Now, people may be aware, may not be aware. That's a point that we are working towards, but we have a solutions cutting across end-to-end life cycle. Now, this is only on the lending space. What we are trying and building more is across the BFS segment, which includes InsurTech, which is large. We include the liability size of the bank, which is huge. We have the treasury, which is huge. We have the supply chain financing, which is huge. So all of this end-to-end life cycle is what we are building products towards, which, I mean, maybe some I can disclose, some I can't, but we are investing heavily to create a lot of fraud solutions, because what we believe, more and more digital means more and more frauds also coming. So people are getting smarter. It's no more just tampering your paper-based documents. Even on the digital, there are different type of frauds that happen, which if the system or the credit models are not geared up to, we'll see different levels of credit losses, which some progressive institutions have thought about and are working on. But I see a lot more work needs to happen. So in the absence of not kind of able to disclose everything, but we are working on a lot of fraud solutions, both on insurance segment and on the banking and NBFC segments, where we see a lot of use cases coming up. We are building something on the digital ID platform, which is a lot more seamless journeys that each institution is dreaming of. That is truly, and as you said, it's not just about sexy interface, it's a lot to do with service. So what happens is today, the front layer has been sorted, but the backbone, which is the middle layer, and the lower part of the chain, which is typical ops, is not geared up to service that kind of interface on the front end which you have created. So although the front line, the front end journey looks really, really appealing, downstream processes are falling apart. So we are trying to strengthen the downstream processes, which is not that lucrative, and which is where you said, and which is what I would allude to everyone. B2B business is not about lot of jazz and sexiness, as you said. because I truly call B2B business as, it's like that lyricist of a song. And pretty much I convince this with my people as well. I take this anecdote that you know the singer, and if I ask any song of a Bollywood or a Hollywood, I'm 200% sure you will know who has sung that song. You know who it has been featured on, but 99% of the times you would not know who has composed that song.
And in 90s, it was always Sabir.
Correct. So nowadays it is too difficult because everybody is doing, apart from Gulzar Saab and Javed Akhtar, I think in Hindi songs, if you go, there are many. So I am not sure which song who has written. So B2B is like that. You know the outcome that something is happening by an ex-bank. It has made your life very simple. There's a great experience that you derive out of it, but you don't know who is powering it. That's what we do. Most of the time, we facilitate these institutions to give you a wonderful experience on a day-to-day life. Whether you walk to a Chroma, or you walk to a shopper stop, or you walk to a dealer in a Mercedes or a Maruti, or you are taking a home across any cities, it is definitely powered at some or the other level by Perfios.
Basically, you're saying that मेरे आदमी चारों तरफ फैले हुए हैं.
It's not like that, but we are trying to facilitate and
No, makes
take the experience to the next level.
No, I agree. I think why only banking? It has to be across, right?
Right.
But coming to the banking world, how should the banks configure themselves, because they have to be ready for external channels, they have to be ready for internal channels, and in embedded business world, they have to be ready for ONDC and we talk about OCAN, and now we have all the other sorts, right? So it's API first, AIML first. So उसमें कैसे काम करें? How should banks get ready for so much of transformation?
So this this similar kind of question I answered about pre-COVID when there were a lot of physical events. And I said digital transformation is first about a change in the mindset of the people. It's not that system perform the action. Most of the people in large banks were then, it has moved a lot, but we're not ready for a digital transformation. It is not about just creating a good process where people are not adopting. I'm not saying from a demand side, but even from the supply side, people were not ready to adopt true digital. So that's the first change, but I think we have moved a needle there, and a lot of large institutions are doing a fantastic job there. Now coming to your API questions, I think there has to be microservices with layer which has to be created. Because when we talk of scalability, I bucket it into three. There was time, and even now, the cloud policies never existed.
I agree.
You can't scale the infra in the traditional way it used to operate. So first, the cloud adoption, cloud acceptance, cloud policies have to be in place. Even now, when the cloud policies are there, it's little restrictive for certain set of data or certain set of things. We feel it is still not secure enough. So instead of spending time in securing the cloud enough, we are saying no cloud. I think you cannot handle so many transactions, and it is scaling doesn't mean handling hundreds of transactions. Scaling means handling 100 of transactions, 100 of digital journeys, 100 of different partners, and 100 of services issues that you will get through when you are building and moving to a new ecosystem. So scaling is not when people look scaling, they think if you are able to manage all transaction, it is scaling done. No. Then you cannot handle 100 of journeys. And more importantly, there are 100 of partners which you have to quickly plug in. When I talk to any large bank, when a new partner is onboarded, it takes anywhere between 10 to 15 months. You're losing. So I think it's about that side also that one need to think as a bank. Second is the bank is largely running on a core system. That is where your core architecture is. Now, when you're talking of core architecture or core system, in an erstwhile, how it used to operate is there are no microservices, there are no API layer that is there. In between, we try to create a middle layer, and through which you hit the API. Now, I think banks, some banks, not all, have taken a right step forward by saying that we'll build the core banking which has the ability of handling.
You need to rebuild.
So there's a rebuild, and it will take its own time. It cannot be done overnight. So we need to be patient, as I said. But I think banks are working towards that in a real way. And I think I heard Mahesh also. I know Ramesh is doing a great job there. So a lot of banks are already invested in it. The third is, so scale, the microservices layer. And fourth is, how do you give these services to your internal customers and external customers? Earlier it was more, okay, IT do not have bandwidth, hence business have to suffer, the programs cannot run, Diwali is there, but I will do some patch. All this has to go. And which is the gateway layer that banks are trying to put in place. So what is important is how soon a gateway layer can be created.
Agreed.
Where all your external services can be plugged in quickly. And that's how your business pain points will go away. Otherwise, there is always being a tussle between business and IT folks. So they will say, okay, kuch ek workaround de do, don't involve IT. All these discussions will keep happening. And which is not
every business has a CIO, but the CIO is actually not able to do it, right?
So I think that has to be avoided, and that's where all banks are doing a great work. Why banks even, and I think fintechs had played a great role there.
Template bana diya.
So, and they created that ecosystem. There was a pressure, and when I say fintechs, we are a tech fin, and I never say that we are a fintech because unfortunately fintech means you always associate yourself with an acquisition layer. Now that's not what we do. We are a technology.
Acquire.
We are a technology.
You acquire.
Not at all. But yeah, jokes apart, I think so. Fintechs have created a good enabling ecosystem for the large banks, and I think we are seeing the traction. Early days, people call it successful. I would not. Still early days. Lots more to do, but we are on the right path.
No, I agree. I agree. Maybe a quick, very short response if you could give. I know it's a very complicated answer to a question to ask. If somebody has to build a B2B business, what does it take to build a B2B business in BFSI? A short one. I know we are just short of time. I think she's looking at me. Okay. Nobody stares me like that, so don't look at me.
Difficult. I mean, I think I gave a short answer earlier as well. When you are building a B2B business, first is you need to think a lot ahead in time. In a B2B business, when you are ideally in a product side, which we are, in a B2B product side of business, what we have seen eventually, we were treated like vendors, we became partners, now we are consultants. Though some areas also are consultant.
You don't take
no,
my
we are not
position.
eating, but when I say consultant, there's a journey.
Yeah, I agree.
In a B2B business, you can only succeed when you have crossed all these three stages. Because if your clients are treating you as a vendor, it's always very transactional stuff, right? If you are moving to a partner, and it is not about claiming all of this in a stage, because in a stage or a panel like this, people will always be very goody, nice. All that doesn't work. When you are sitting across the table, are they treating you in the first stage, which is a vendor, versus a second stage, which is a partner, versus a third stage when you are a consultant? Because then you are involved before the decision is made. And that's where you have to be as a B2B business. For that, what is critical is the few things which you never compromise in a B2B business. First, the trust. Everybody says trust. It is not that simply earned. You need to invest time on it. So if your brand is associated with trust, you are building a right B2B business model. Second, integrity. There is no compromise because there is some price discussion or something which we go through every day. And I can call it boldly when people say that, okay, you are expensive, you are premium, you are XYZ. You have to take care not only about all your clients in the coming days, you don't have to think just current. So I know the business model that a lot of players build in a B2B side is like literally little short-sighted. If honestly, some of you in the room have read the data privacy bill, look at what should be your compliance cost. I don't know whether people have gone through it. One penalty, most of the fintechs in the country can get wiped off if the government decides to. So be very cautious when you build a business model. Do not come under the pressure because working with a large client and then they say, no, you have to give it in this. Most of us get into that rut. That's not how you build a B2B model. You are building a product. If you are confident about that product delivers the value that the client needs, please demand what it deserves to be. Not under the pressure that you just compromise on a short-term gain, market entry strategy, raising investments, as I said. That's where we all are racing towards, raise more and more money, and hence you drop the price, but you will not be able to sustain. That's not what B2B means. That's the second point. And the third and most important point is, are you building for valuation? Are you building to run the business forever? If you are building to raise money and valuation, B2C is a better option than B2B. However, the challenge today is none of the investors are looking at GMV anymore in last 10 months. So I don't know whether B2C is also a right model. What I'm trying to say is when you're building a business model, what you should focus on is the bottom line and not the top line growth. I'm growing 10x, I'm growing 100x, I'm growing 50x. What is the bottom line? Sab karke bacha kya? You have not built the business for helping the clients only. You have moral responsibility towards your employees, clients, stakeholders, everyone. Otherwise, you'll build a business where your clients will not depend on you because they don't know your sustainability power. You will wind up after 2 years or you'll sell the company after 4 years. That's not what is B2B. So basically, what I'm trying to say is a lot of patience and time invested. B2B is not overnight, not 2 years. It cannot run like that. I hope I have answered.
No, I think we sit on the same side of the world, right, which is B2B, slow, but it's like wine. Hopefully it will taste better and will be well priced as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Sabya. I think this is a phenomenal and frank response. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.